Okay guys, so today we're going to be making my Portuguese inspired chicken spaghetti. So let's get started. Okay, so one of the main ingredients in this dish is onion. We're gonna chop 3 of them because you do need quite a bit of this in the bottom of the pot. So normally this recipe doesn't have any sort of veggies except for onion inside of it. I'm adding spinach in there just to make this recipe a little bit more healthier and to have at least something green inside of it. So we're gonna go ahead and chop up some spinach and put it in as well with the onion. So we're gonna chop in total 3 cups of spinach just because I am making a large pot this time. You can also put actually the spinach in whole. You don't have to actually chop it. I am just boiling some water and I've just put a teaspoon of olive oil. Okay, so now our water is boiling. We're just gonna add in regular spaghetti. I have measured this. This is 305 grams of spaghetti. Here's what I like to do, guys. I like to split them in half, just like that, and drop them in. I don't like when they're super long. It's just hard to eat for me. I know I'm extra, but I just split them in half like that. It's also easier for kids to eat it too. I find that the main 2 secrets about cooking pasta so that it's done properly is 1, having a little bit of olive oil, like I said before, because it allows it to moisturize the pasta so that you don't have to worry about it sticking to the pot. And the other secret is to occasionally always check up on it, always keep stirring it around just to ensure that the oil's all over it. We're just gonna let it cook and then I'm gonna check in on it and I'm gonna stir it again. So just add all of the onion to the bottom of your pot. I have this pot on high at the moment, and we're gonna add just a teaspoon of oil to it and a touch of water. So just a tad. We're gonna let the onions kind of cook down a little bit, and I'm just gonna be adding a little bit of water. I would say just half a cup for now. I learned this recipe from my aunt. She used to babysit us when we were younger, and she used to make this meal for us all the time. We were obsessed with it, like so obsessed with it. And every single day I'd be like, can you make that pasta for us? I love it so much. So she would make it all the time, and I finally, as I got a little bit older, I'm like, how do you make it? I really want to make it. So I made it once and it tasted like literally 95% just like hers. Instead of using white wine, which is what she used, she actually used white wine or beer, I can't remember. But we're not going to be using either of those today. We're actually going to be replacing it with apple cider vinegar. So how cool is that? Because I was trying to think of something that kind of has that sort of similar taste to white wine. So I figured, I think that apple cider would be a good fit, and I tried it and it turned out so well. I don't like to put too much salt at this point because I want to taste it afterwards as well. So I want to show you guys a close-up. The onions are starting to cook and starting to boil a little bit. That's exactly what we want. Now at this point we're also going to add some garlic powder into there too. Just go with it, follow your heart. Some black pepper in there. I'd say about 1 tablespoon. Another very important ingredient is our pimento paste here, Portuguese pimento paste. 3 to 4 tablespoons of this. This adds a lot of flavor. If your kids are sensitive to something like this, you can get the mild one. Smelling so good already. So now you can see it has more of that orange color. We're gonna give it even more color by putting some paprika. We use a ton of paprika in our foods. I would say you need a good 3 tablespoons of this in here. Now that the onions are mostly cooked, we're gonna go ahead and add in a ton more water now because we're gonna add in our chicken. Okay, so we have filled up our pot with a ton of water now. I'm just gonna stir that all up. We're gonna keep it on high heat because we do need to cook the meat really, really well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait for this to come to a boil, and then we are gonna add in our apple cider. Okay, so our pasta is done. So I've just put it into here. So now it's all come to a boil. Now we're going to be adding in our apple cider vinegar, a good 1.5 cups. So what I've done is I have a mix of chicken breast this time and also some chicken thighs. So I'm just mixing a little bit of both of them this time. I've split my chicken breast into two, so I've just cut them in half. And I'm using about 4 full chicken breasts, and then I'm using about 12 pieces of chicken thighs. These guys are my favorite because they're so tasty. You still want to keep this on high because now we're going to be cooking the meat through. So now we're just going to let this come to a boil. We're going to make sure our meat is all cooked, and then we're going to remove them and chop them all up and add them back in. Our meat is basically cooked. Now we're just going to get a bowl like this on the side, and we're just going to put all of our meat inside of there because we're going to chop it up. So we've just added all of our meat inside of this bowl here. We're going to plug in our favorite chopper. I would say to add about 3 pieces in here at a time. Now we're just going to add it in. So now we've chopped up all of our chicken and we've added it back into our pot, and now I've put it back up on medium. I'm going to add in my spinach. The reason why I didn't before is because when you take out the chicken, the spinach is going to be all over it, and then it's just going to get chopped even more smaller. So that's just a little tip I like to use. We're just going to stir that all up. Now we're just going to let that cook on medium. I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's done. Our sauce is all cooked. It's been cooking for about 10 minutes now. Just going to turn off the oven now. I would just let it sit for about 5 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe, and I hope you guys can recreate it at home. Thank you guys so much for watching.